Hello, leader. You can have a full schedule, a steady stream of clients, even a solid payroll system, and still be quietly bleeding your best people, and they quit. Now, we all know that people don't walk out because of one bad day. They walk out after too many days of expectations keep shifting, leadership feeling inconsistent, and too many instances where they hear, "We'll deal with that later," knowing darn well that later never happens. And here's the part most business owners don't want to admit. Your team isn't just reacting to the job. They're reacting to how it feels to be led by you. So today, we're pulling back the curtain on why people really quit small business and where leadership is often the missing skill set no one taught you, but everyone on your team expects you to have. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast, smart leadership for women who mean business. This show has been on air since 2018 to help women who own established brick-and-mortar businesses fix the people side of their business so they can stop carrying payroll pressure, stop over-functioning as the default decision maker, and build a team that actually performs without burning anyone out or damaging their reputation. I'm your host, Shelli Warren. My entire career has been built on leadership coaching, team development, and creating accountable, productive cultures inside real workplaces. Over here, we don't just talk about leadership, we live it. This isn't online leadership theory, academic research, or HR speak. The work we do here is grounded in real teams, real workplaces, and real consequences. Each episode delivers practical, no-fluff strategies to help you lead a team that can carry the business forward with you, not on your back. And I'll say it again, the team that got you here might not be the team that gets you there. Let's go. Welcome back to Stacking Your Team, the podcast for women who own established service-based businesses and are ready to step fully into leadership. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to shine the light on an uncomfortable topic, people quitting. Now, we do know that people don't quit because of one thing that went wrong today. They quit when leadership leaves too many things unresolved, unclear expectations, and inconsistent standards, and a lack of follow-through that starts, to kind of feel like normal. And you had better accept the fact that your highest performing team members do not want to work in a place that has that kind of normal as its culture. They want something better. So they provide feedback, offer suggestions, hope things will improve, bank on you learning how to lead in a more effective way. And when they don't see any signs of improvement, they quit. Now let's ground this in reality for a minute, especially as a small business owner who is feeling like turnover keeps punching you in the gut. Nearly half of team members in small businesses leave within the first year to a year and a half. That's short. That is a very short time span. And replacing someone, it's expensive, really expensive. Not just because of payroll, but because of the lost client relationships, dropped momentum, more and more training time, and the mistakes that can occur because you don't have someone in their role. All of this can add stress onto the rest of the team who are pitching in and doing more. And the fact that you usually end up carrying the extra load while trying to replace the latest person who handed in their notice. And while a lot of business owners assume people leave for more money, exit interviews consistently point to things like these as the tipping point as to why they're leaving. So things like this. They tell us it's unclear expectations, unclear communication, inconsistent leadership, feeling overlooked, not really believing that there's an opportunity to grow with you, and workplaces that just feel hard to work in. And Gallup's research has shown for years that managers and leaders heavily influence how engaged people feel at work. So in other words, this isn't just a hiring problem. And it's not just a retention strategy problem. This is a leadership skill set problem because knowing how to manage money, inventory, schedules, clients, and payroll is only part of building a business. At some point, you also have to learn how to lead people because people don't quit companies. They quit the people who are running the company. This is a really big topic, so I thought I would provide you today some backstory on why people quit. A bit of a heads up. Now, this might be a bit of a reality bite for you. And these examples are all very real conversations that I have inside the Team Leader program here at Stacking Your Team. I also hear these comments and examples with my one-to-one clients and during my in-person workshops, or even as I'm out and about within my local community. People are often very willing to talk about why they quit. And don't forget, I've quit employment too. Some of these examples and experiences resonate deeply with me as well. So first things first, we've got to accept the fact that most likely people are not quitting the job or the work itself. They're quitting having to work in and around these kind of experiences. Here's the first one. Unclear expectations. And it sounds like this. No one told me what great looked like. They were constantly moving the targets. I'd get praise one day and a harsh correction the next. So to your team members, they feel like they have to walk around on eggshells at work, and they don't want to. Here's another one. Inconsistent leadership. And it sounds like this. The rules change depending on her mood. One person gets away with things and the other one doesn't. The owner avoided hard conversations for so long, and then she'd explode and lose her mind. That was so awful and so awkward to have to witness. So your team members, they feel like you often are unfair and unpredictable. And then there's this complaint. No path forward. And it sounds like this. As a strong performer, I feel like I've hit a plateau here. She doesn't have any career paths, and I don't think she knows what that is. The only development conversation she's had with me is to say, keep doing what you're doing. I've seen her promote a few people, but we've all agreed that she chose to promote people based on their loyalty to her or the length of time that they've been on the team, not this person's actual leadership capability. So your team members, well, they think, why would I stay here? Here's another one. Tolerance of underperformance. And it sounds like this. I am so tired of watching low performers skate by, keep getting paid, keep taking a ton of time off, and then being asked to cover their workload or switch my schedule around to fill their gap. She avoids letting these people go because they've been here forever. So your team members feel a lot of resentment towards their lower performing coworkers and the business owner too for not doing anything about it. So they pull back, they disengage while they look for a new role elsewhere. And then there's this one, owner dependency, also known as bottlenecking. And it sounds like this. We have to run everything by her first and wait on her final approval, or wait on her to even make a decision, which she will often change her mind about, causing rework and confusion. There are people in so-called leadership roles, but that's superficial because they're not confident and don't have any authority to do anything without her. So your team members, well, they believe, what's the point of staying here? I can't succeed. And then there's this one, lack of recognition. And it sounds like this. Our business owner thinks that because she pays us a competitive wage, that's all it takes for us to feel motivated. So there's little to no acknowledgement of our effort, even when things have been really tough and we've overcome something big. There's also no recognition of how far some of us have come since we were hired, as the roles have changed so much, and what we used to do in the early days, we're not even doing that anymore because the business grew so fast. So your team members, well, they feel invisible. And here's the last one that we'll look at today, and it's a doozy. Poor communication habits. And it sounds like this. There are so many last-minute changes, it feels like we make a plan and then it promptly goes off course. There's so few regular check-ins that most of us have shifted into checking in with each other so that we feel supported. She only gives us feedback when something goes wrong. So, to your team members, your go-to leadership style looks and feels like very active, not supportive at all. Now, as you listened to that list of 7 real reasons why people quit, you may have thought, well, geez, thankfully, not all of this is happening in my business. And that's great if it's true. But what if there are a few that are? Okay, that was probably uncomfortable for you to hear. But you can do hard things. After all, you built a business without any formal leadership training, and that's pretty darn normal. So staying there, yeah, that's optional because leading people is a skill set, not a personality trait. And too many business owners invest in inventory and space before leadership. They obsess over numbers, but ignore team dynamics. They might learn marketing, but they never learn how to lead a conversation when someone is underperforming. And that gap, that's where people start planning their exit. So let's recap what your team is not telling you, but they definitely are feeling. They're noticing who you avoid, what you tolerate, when you don't follow through, and how decisions truly get made. This leads them to ask themselves, is this a place that I can grow? Does she really have a plan for us? Do standards matter here or only for a few people or in a few situations? If their answer is unclear, they will start looking elsewhere. So let's flip from all this doom and gloom and start talking about what keeps good people around. Because despite what social media might tell you, most team members are not waking up every day hoping for another free pizza lunch or a company hoodie. What people are really looking for is a workplace that feels clear, fair, stable, and well-led. They stay when they know what is expected of them and why that even matters. They stay when standards don't change depending on the mood of the business owner or because of over-coddling a favorite team member. They stay when performance issues are addressed fairly instead of being ignored for months, sometimes years. They stay when growth feels possible, not just promised that it might happen one day. And they stay when leaders actually follow through on what they say they're going to do. That's the stuff that builds trust. No free donuts, no trendy perks, no random appreciation social media post or a team lunch. Because at the end of the day, most adults want to work in a business where good work is recognized, poor behavior is not tolerated, communication is clear, and people in leadership roles actually lead. That's what makes people stay. A lot of clients, when they come to work with me, they're really overwhelmed by the fact that they've had a lot of team turnover. And they're really struggling with the fact, knowing that they pay them a competitive wage, they know they offer them a nice workplace, they know that they care about them, and yet they're still leaving. And it is a big conundrum for them. But then once we start working together, they really, have those light bulb moments where they realize that part of what's missing, especially for high-performing people, is that she doesn't have a true team and leadership structure built into her business. So there's really no way to keep these high-performing people because she doesn't understand that they need to be cared for in a different way. So once we start to build all that in, then what ends up happening is her turnover rate drops because people see and feel the difference. They also see and feel the difference in her. So now they begin to step up, and then together they're so much more stronger to be able to move forward and build something really great. If today's episode helps you see your leadership in a new way, I'd love to hear about it. Come connect with me on Instagram, where I'm @StackingYourTeam, and tell me what's troubling you about your team right now. And hey, if you're tuning into this podcast because you work somewhere and you want to develop your leadership skills, I invite you to start following our sister company, Thousand Islands Leadership Consulting. Check us out on Instagram or LinkedIn so you can chart your course to the next level of leadership.
This is Ellie. Come back next Tuesday. My Mimi will have another episode for you.